I was literally on the verge of suicide. It was just so fucking depressing. My wife said to me one day, hey, what do you want to do with your life? And I said, if there was one thing I could do, I'd cast DotA. And she's like, well, I'll tell you what, if you don't start casting tomorrow, I'm gonna divorce you right now. You know, she's like, quit your job, sell this house, go cast DotA. We'll live off the savings, and if you don't do it, I'm legit gonna divorce you. My name is Mike, MLP DotA. I'm from Sydney, Australia, and I've been casting with johnxfire for about 5 years now. 5 long years.
Yeah, long years. I'm johnxfire. I'm from Davao City, Philippines. Been casting since 2017 with Michael Phoenix here, all the way back in Echo League. I really enjoyed his cast before as a solo. Like I already knew this guy would be big.
Yeah, he was actually one of the reasons why I kept casting. I wasn't confident at all. And he said, hey, I think you could make it all the way to TI. And I'm like, well, if you think it, why don't you just come with me and we'll go all the way together.
He was not at full speed. Once that hero gets to the 5-6, it gets very difficult.
No, we talked about comfort and about
how far am I really pushing analysis? Am I focusing enough on the boards, vision, item timings, laning matchups, starting items? So that's always something to refine. And I think that's something every caster really does, is that you always have to double check, are you still hitting the fundamentals? Are you pushing yourself further? Are you noticing every little thing from the analysis point of view? Are you playing enough DotA? Are you keeping track of enough DotA? I don't think me and Mike look at when we go into a cast that, you know, oh, we want this team, because every team has a story. So for me, it just feels great to cast every team because they all have their own stories. I like talking to a lot of players if they're willing to have some small chat. That's something that a lot of us from the viewer end kind of forget. Like, yeah, you hear these storylines, you see how they perform in groups, but you forget about the person behind. And I think as talent, you kind of get to see that more. So every team you cast, you just feel you're excited because they've all got their own stories, and if it goes well, they can tell that story. And you also always empathize when someone's knocked out because you know how hard it is for everyone to even just get in here. Yeah, I think back then, like early 2018 was when we first got our first few gigs. The only time we'd be somewhat comfy, especially Mike, like financially, would be when we'd get something like a major qualifier. Because outside of that, outside of any contacts like that, again, remote casting just wasn't seen too highly. So it wasn't really a top priority.
Yeah. And I've been homeless twice. So I've been literally casting DPC from multiple locations. I've been dragging my PC everywhere, like my mum's bedroom, in her apartment. I've gone to friends' houses. I've been everywhere just casting DPC games. It's, I don't know, there's been so many lows. It's like, where do you even start? It's been ridiculous.
ESL, we didn't really work with them before. No one really takes anyone from Southeast Asia, so we're like, all right, that's kind of fine. And then we just suddenly get a message, you know, a couple of casters like, hey, you might get an email. And we're like, okay. And surprisingly, we were dragged along for group, so that's where it's like, wow, we're actually meeting each other after 5 years. I mean, 5 years, Mike. That was really
kind of nuts. First time we met, it was a little bit surreal. I mean, I saw him coming in a van. I was outside having a cigarette or something, and there he was, johnxfire, and I'm like, oh my God, there he is. And the first thought that came into my mind is, wow, John's really short. He's a really short guy. We hugged and embraced and almost kissed. You know how it is, very romantic stuff.
I think the one thing with me and Mike is that over those 5 years, it's not like we only stayed around casting.
Yeah.
We play a lot offline. We used to play a lot. I play a lot less because DotA just makes me crazy. But we played a lot of games. We talked a lot. You know, we just sit and voice call and just talk and just kind of hang out, fill each other up with our lives.
John used to just listen to me rant a lot.
Yeah.
I live a crazy life.
Yeah,
it still does.
Yeah.
I live a bit of a crazy life. And I know life can get hard, and I know sometimes you don't make enough money to survive as a caster and whatever. It all comes with the territory. Nobody forced you to do that. You chose this career path. You could leave at any time you like. Right? So if you want to keep going, just improve. John was the guy who kept saying, dude, you're really good. You have a great, like you could do it. Like you could be the next big caster. I said, hey, John, I'll tell you what, let's do it together. No matter how long it takes, no matter what happens, no matter what we go through, I will stick with you, no matter what. And I don't think he truly took that as the truth at the time.
It's so hard because he's such a multifaceted person. But he's a really good friend. That just kind of captures it. Whatever you look for in a really good friend, he has all of it.